Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you from Yahuwah the Father and Yahusha our Mashiach, his voice. Hear, O Yasharal. Yahuwah, our mighty one, he is one Yahuwah. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you marriage in the Torah, and this is part 2. I must say, brothers and sisters, I am very proud of you. I looked at the comment board and I saw the exchanges that were happening between you. You were confessing your sins, one to another. In my 30 years of ministry, this is the first time that I've seen this done openly. Listen what the Father says also. He that confesseth his sins, Yahuwah is faithful and just to forgive you of all your sins, and his word is true. You have been forgiven. He has thrown your transgressions of the law into the sea of forgetfulness. So since we're going to continue with this series on marriage, we need to start at the beginning, don't you think? Adam and Eve. This is the first marriage that was in the book. And remember, these two, before they became separated, were one. Let's begin. Genesis chapter 2, verse 20 to 23. Verse 20. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmeet for him. He was so intelligent, without any references whatsoever, no books. He was able to name all of Yahuwah's creation. But for him, he was alone. Yahuwah said, "It is not good for man to be alone. Let me create a helper for him." Verse 21. And Yahuwah, the supreme power of the Elohim, caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. We're not into mysticism anymore. This was an ancient operation, brothers and sisters. Adam was under anesthesia, and he went to sleep. And during this operation, the Father did not take a rib. He went into the testicles. He pulled out a sperm cell. After he pulled out the sperm cell, he closed up the flesh thereof. If you look down at a man's testicles, you'll see something that comes up the middle. It looks like a scar. And in this scar, could this be the place where Yahuwah made his incision? Well, nevertheless, the first person to give birth, and it was something like a C-section, was Adam. Verse 22. And the rib which Yahuwah, the supreme power of the Elohim, had taken from the man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. What do you think Adam must have said when he saw her? Yahuwah is my shepherd. I see what I want. Verse 23. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Woman means a man with a womb. But look at what Adam was saying here. She's a part of me. Did you know that the sexual drive for the two to be in union together is the strongest drive in the world? Why do you think that the species has not gone extinct? Because of the way that the Father has made us. Verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Okay, we're going to stay here for a moment. This is a very important verse. This is your marriage in Torah, the first marriage. Here are the instructions. Men, your father and your mother, they don't exist in your marriage. Most of us here in America have become mama's boys because we were raised by mamas. Your mother does not exist in your marriage. When you have married that woman, she becomes your primary focus. Mama comes second. Nothing comes before your wife. And ladies, when you have given yourself to this man, he is your primary focus. Your mother and your father cannot be included in this marriage. It will bring conflict. So you see, from the beginning, it defines perimeters. Look what it says next. And shall cleave unto his wife. Men. Cleave. This is strictly for your men, for the men. Cleave unto your wife. That means you stay with her. You don't leave her. Do you understand? If you take off the C, you will see leave. It doesn't tell you to leave. It tells you to cleave. Stay. This is why Shaul told you, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, if the unbeliever, who's the unbeliever? The one who does not believe in the instructions that the Most High has given us right here in Genesis chapter 24. If the unbeliever decides to leave, let him leave. You are not bound in this case. In other words, you are free. And look what it says next. And they shall be one flesh. This is a mystery that we are about to uncover. Did you know, ladies, that men are visual? Remember when Yahuwah brought Eve to Adam? He says, Yahuwah is my shepherd. I see what I want. Well, when he looks at you, at your hair, and your beautiful face with those big brown lips, chiseled chin, and those eyes, and the nose that is just so perfect. Did you know he can get an erection just by looking? That's why it's important for you to be covered, because of the Elohim, and because you may cause a man to sin, transgress the law. But for the woman, it is not so. She's emotional, and she's physical. So what happens? The man comes to his wife, and she needs you to, kind of build her up to the moment. Let me tell you what to do, guys. Speak softly and beautiful things to her. Baby, you're so pretty. That Coca-Cola bottle shape. That brown skin is just glistening in the light. You look like a Hershey's chocolate bar. I can just eat you all up. And when you look at her, she's and then you go and you touch her. And you pull her close to you. And you give her a kiss on those big, round, fat lips. And then you go a little lower and you kiss her on the neck. Chills run up and down her spine. Then something happens to her. The vaginal fluids begin to flow. Now both of you are prepped for the encounter. Then the man goes into his wife. We're not talking about a pornographic relationship. We're speaking of husband and wife only. He goes into her. And the movements, and the thrusts, and the heat from the two bodies brings forth an explosion. A spiritual explosion, which the Most High has created, one of the greatest things in the world. And semen is released into her vagina, and with her orgasm, the vaginal fluids reach the semen, and the sperm cells find the semen and begin their trek to the egg. Let me stop here for a second. The fact that you're here listening to my voice today proves something. You were the fastest. You were the strongest. You may have been even the smartest, because you made it into the egg, became full grown, and are listening to me now. Maybe even Yahuwah, the supreme power of the Elohim, guided your path to find the egg. Let's continue. So the sperm has been released into the vagina and the man pulls out. Some of the sperm falls to the floor or on the sheets. What does the master say we should do about that? He says you have to go and wash yourselves with water. Ritual cleansing. Water's a solvent. Kills bacteria. Are you with me so far? Did you know that once the sperm falls to the floor on the sheets and the fluids begin to dry up, the sperm begins to die? They last for 20 or 30 minutes outside of the penis or outside of the womb. For the woman, something different. In her vagina, these sperm cells can live up to 5 days in her vagina. Ladies, it is impossible for you to have more than one sexual partner. Now I'm going to explain to you why it's so ugly a thing for you to do so. So you have living sperm cells in your vagina, and then you go and meet with another man. And he releases his sperm in your vagina. Now you have two conflicting sperms fighting for supremacy in your womb, trying to find the egg. Here's something ugly. Paternity cannot be established. Do you think that our ancestors had Maury Povich to watch, to give them DNA tests, to find out after 5 or 6 men which one is the father of the child? No, these are ugly things. wickedness beyond all imagination. Okay, now the sperm that has been released into the woman's womb has died. She is full of death. The womb has turned into a tomb. Men, this is a deterrent for you. You cannot go into a woman that has multiple sexual partners. It is unclean. You cannot go into a woman who is married to another man. This is your deterrent, because you're not just going into a womb. Now you're going into a tomb, and you have two conflicting dead semens that are in her body. Here's something else. Each sperm cell has a soul and a spirit. When they die, where do they go? Remember, the two have become one flesh. So ladies, that soul and that spirit goes into you. Now do you see what a problem it is? This is why some of the women are just, let me just say it, so crazy. Don't know how to carry themselves. Out promoting wickedness in their songs and making it into something that is lovely when it is something that is ugly. 6 husbands, 6 spirits. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. The womb has become a tomb. Now the next man comes in and he goes into you, and he contracts a sexually transmitted disease. It's getting uglier, isn't it? Yeah. And it stays like that, this tomb, until a thing called the cleansing. What is the cleansing? The woman cleanses her body every month for 7 days plus 1, 8 days, to get rid of the dead sperm cells and the egg that has been left over unused. So now you've had sex 101. And the reason why the woman cannot have more than one sexual partner, that is it. It's not so for the man. He does not have a womb. He can go in to as many women as he can afford and bring forth a seed. But the woman can only deal with one man at a time. And here's the time when you are released. If your husband dies, you are free. How many spirits you have if you've been faithful to that one husband? One spirit. That's it. Then, if the husband gives you a letter of divorce and you are released, you're free. You can marry again. The next one is if your husband does not cleave, but he leaves. You are not bound to him in that circumstance. Verse 25. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Until the eviction. We all know the story of why they were evicted from the garden. But there's a lot of clouds around Adam's part. The book says that Adam was not deceived, but Eve was deceived and in the transgression. which means Adam knew what he was doing. He intentionally died. He died for his woman. Hey, brothers, your job is extensive. When you marry that young lady, you have to be ready to give your life for her. Yes. You have to be ready to rescue her. She's going to mess up. That's what she does. Just like you have messed up to the Most High. That's why he calls Yasharol a woman, and he sees himself as the husbandman. The husbandman is going to redeem his wife. The only reason that he would redeem her is because she messed up. She made some type of transgression, and he went and rescued her, and he washes her. This is your job, men. You have to wash her with the water of the word. Wow. The men are likened unto Yahuwah. This is why your position is very powerful. So when your wife, say she goes outside of the marriage bed, you have a choice. You can rescue her, because if you love her, you will rescue her. Because if you don't, she's finished. Or you can give her a letter of divorce. What does the Most High say about that? Because their hearts were hardened. This is why they gave their wives a letter of divorce and not played the role of the kinsman redeemer. You have to be ready to redeem this woman. It is guaranteed that she is going to mess up and drop the ball. You have to be likened unto Yahuwah, and you have to take her back, cleanse her, wash her with the word, and love her, and throw her sins, her transgressions that were against you in the sea of forgetfulness. And when Yah looks upon you, he will throw your transgressions in the sea of forgetfulness. Do you see how this thing works? It's a beautiful thing when we do it according to the law. Continue to part 3. Shalom.